Stage 1. The kid on the go-kart track. You're 8 years old, and the morning is bitter cold at a circuit 90 minutes outside your hometown. Your dad drove through pitch darkness to get you there, and he never once grumbled about it. The kart is compact, painted a faded orange, and it reeks of two-stroke fuel. When the engine catches, it howls like a hornet trapped in a jar. You strap on a helmet built for a bigger skull. Your fingers tremble inside gloves that swallow your hands whole. Your father crouches beside you on pit road and locks eyes with you. Breathe, he says. Feel what the kart is telling you. Don't fight it. You nod along, though none of it really makes sense yet. The other kids look bigger. They look quicker. Their gear matches, their team colors gleam, and their fathers cluster together in designer jackets. Your kart is secondhand. Dad picked it up cheap and spent 3 straight weekends in the garage coaxing it back to life. The green flag falls and your stomach drops. You kill the engine. The whole pack vanishes into a wall of noise and exhaust. Inside the helmet, where no one can see, you let a few tears fall. But everything shifts on lap 2. The kart stops feeling like a box you're strapped into. It becomes part of you. You feel the tires bite through the seat of your pants. You feel the front end grab the pavement mid-turn. You're soaring. You're weightless. Nothing else is real. Not homework. Not worry. Only this ribbon of asphalt. Something clicks into place inside your skull, and it will never click back off. The scoreboard doesn't register. The other racers don't register. There's only the next bend in the track, only the noise and the velocity and the sensation swallowing you whole. 8 years old, and you've stumbled onto the exact thing you were built for. You can't put words to it. You just know you'll never willingly stop. You finish dead last, a full lap down, when the checkers wave. It doesn't touch you at all. You have never in your short life felt this much alive. Your dad hauls you out of the seat, and you're beaming. He's beaming wider than you've ever seen him. The whole ride home, you don't stop talking, narrating every single corner from memory. You beg to come back next weekend. He goes quiet for a beat. Then he tells you karts aren't cheap, and money's tight right now, but he'll figure it out. And he does. He takes on extra shifts at work. He picks up overtime at the plant. He sells his fishing boat without telling you why for years. He quietly shelves his own life so yours can accelerate. You're far too young to grasp what that costs him. You'll understand the full weight of it much later, almost too late. Chapter 2. Weekend Warrior. You're 16. Karting swallowed your entire childhood, and 2 years back you took home a regional crown. But the real ladder, the one that leads toward the summit of the sport, runs through open-wheel single-seaters, cars with wings, and razor-slick tires. And that ladder demands money your family simply doesn't have. So you make a decision that quietly guts you. You shelve the expensive dream for now and go grassroots. You and your father pool your savings for a beaten-up sedan, nothing fancy, a road car gutted and fitted with a welded roll cage. You race it every weekend at the local club track against plumbers, electricians, and guys who retired a decade ago. Nobody here is chasing fame. Everyone's just here because they love it. You cover your own tires. You cover your own gas. You wrench on the car in the paddock, your dad at your elbow the whole time. And you pick up something the kids in the fancy single-seater programs never learn. You learn to race wheel to wheel, bumper to bumper. You learn to claw for every inch of track position, to muscle past a rival who won't budge an inch. Single-seaters run in open space, isolated, chasing a stopwatch. Sedans run in a pack, trading paint and dented panels. You get comfortable in the scrum. You get comfortable in the chaos. You learn nerve. You learn patience. You learn exactly when to strike and when to hold back. Some races you lose because you push too hard, and you absorb every lesson from every loss. Slowly, you start winning your little regional series. None of it is glamorous. None of it airs on television. But every single weekend you're sharper, quicker, more dangerous, and word is spreading about the kid in the battered sedan. The veterans respect you now. They used to shove you wide in the corners just to put you in your place. Now they give you room. Now they shake your hand afterward. 17 years old, and you're beating grown men 3 times your age. But privately, you know the truth. This series is a dead end. Nobody gets scouted from here. Nobody builds a career out of it. Some nights you lie awake wondering if the window already closed on you. If the single-seater ladder is climbing further out of reach with every season that passes. You feel a door swinging shut. You have no idea yet that a different door is about to crack open, Because people are starting to notice the kid in the battered sedan. Chapter 3. The Open Wheel Trial. You're 18. A team owner with deep pockets caught one of your club races and offered you a shot in a junior open-wheel car. This is it. The dream everybody pictures when they imagine a professional racer, the ladder toward the very top tier of the sport. You drop into the cockpit, and it's an entirely different machine. There's a rear wing generating real downforce. The tires are slick and wider than your forearm. It glues itself to the road through corners your old sedan could never dream of taking flat. You're quicker than you've ever been in your life. By the end of the test, you've set the fastest lap of the day. The owner is thrilled. He offers you a seat for the full season. Then he names the price. It's staggering, hundreds of thousands of dollars just to compete for a single year. He explains, almost gently, that this is simply how the ladder works. Talent gets you noticed, but money gets you the seat. To climb toward the top, you need serious backing, sponsors, investors, family wealth. You have none of that. You look around at the other hopefuls at the test. Their dads are surgeons, executives, hedge fund managers. They roll up in luxury cars with matching gear bags. A few of them are slower than you on the stopwatch, and it won't matter one bit. They'll get the seats because they can write the check. That's the ugly, unspoken rule of this level. It isn't only the clock deciding who moves forward. It's the bank balance too. You're faster than half the field, and it changes nothing. You're being priced straight out of your own dream. That night your father sits at the kitchen table with his face buried in his hands. He offers to take out a second mortgage on the house. You tell him no. You watched him give up piece after piece of his own life for you already. You won't let him gamble the roof over your heads. This is the moment you cross into adulthood. You shut the door on the single-seater dream with your own two hands. It's the hardest choice you've ever made. You cry that night, alone, where nobody can hear it. The following weekend you're back in your club sedan, and it suddenly feels sluggish. It feels small. You've had a taste of the summit and been turned away at the gate. For a while, bitterness eats at you, at the sport, at money, at the idea that being good enough was never actually enough. Your father tries to console you, tells you he's proud regardless of what happens next. Somehow that makes it sting worse. But eventually the anger burns off into something more useful. You start reconsidering the whole picture. Maybe the summit everyone obsesses over isn't the only peak worth climbing. Maybe there's more than one route to becoming a real racing driver. You start digging. You start making calls. You are nowhere near finished with this sport. Chapter 4. Breaking into GT. Stage 4. The GT Rookie. You're 21, and you've found a different road in. There's a whole universe of racing outside single-seaters, sports cars, GT machines, roofed and doored, built for the long-endurance classics. And here's the part nobody tells you at 18. In this world, raw ability outweighs a bottomless wallet. Manufacturers build these cars themselves. Manufacturers pay the drivers who can actually win in them. You don't need to buy the seat here. You can earn it. You talk your way into a drive with a modest GT outfit. The car started life as a production sports coupe, re-engineered into a full racing weapon. Heavy, muscular, and prone to sliding. Nothing like the razor-precise single-seater. It reminds you far more of the scrappy sedan you cut your teeth on. It feels like coming home. You share the cockpit with a paying amateur, a wealthy entrepreneur who funds the team's budget. Your role is to be the professional edge, attack the toughest stints, qualify the car up front, claw back whatever positions the amateur loses. For the first time in your life, you're actually getting paid to race. It's modest money, but it's real. For the first time, the sport is putting money into your family instead of draining it out. You start sending cash home. You quietly begin repaying your father, a little at a time. He tries to wave it off. You refuse to let him. It's the proudest moment of your young life. That season you win your class in a major national event. The car fights you at first, nearly double the weight of a single-seater, shifting and sliding beneath you through every corner. But you've wrestled heavy, unruly cars before. You spent years fighting that battered sedan for grip. Those Sunday club races weren't wasted after all. Every scrap you fought in that series lives in your hands now. You learn smoothness. You learn to preserve tires across a marathon stint. You learn to nurse a car that's falling apart underneath you and still bring it home in one piece. That's the currency that actually matters at this level. Pure speed alone doesn't cut it. Endurance rewards the driver who thinks ahead. And you're learning to think. A manufacturer talent scout happens to be in the paddock that weekend. He writes your name down in a notebook. Chapter 5. Wearing the factory badge. Stage 5. You're 24. A major manufacturer has signed you as a factory driver. This is a real career now. You wear their crest on your chest. You represent the brand on a global stage. You draw an actual salary to pilot their machinery around the world. You've crossed from paying to compete to being paid to compete, a line almost no driver ever manages to cross. You're standing on the right side of it now. You campaign a professional GT championship spanning continents. The circuits are storied. The competition is razor thin. Every car on the grid is a factory-backed effort with serious money behind it. The gap between winning and losing comes down to tenths of a second and the person gripping the wheel. You are that difference. Your weeks are structured like an athlete's. Your nutrition is tracked. Your conditioning is monitored constantly. You spend hour after hour in the simulator, memorizing every apex of every circuit on the calendar. This year, you meet a woman named Mira. She works within the manufacturer's Motorsport Communications division, sharp, composed, entirely unimpressed by driver egos. She's watched 100 hotshots cycle through the paddock. Something about you registers differently to her. She recognizes the kid who walked away from the single-seater dream to protect his father's house. You fall for her slowly, then all at once. She becomes the one person you can be completely unguarded with. You tell her about the oversized helmet from when you were 8. The racing itself never lets up. Every weekend brings another airport, another hotel, another circuit. You fly halfway around the planet for a 2-hour race and fly straight back. Sunlight not filtered through a visor becomes a rarity. The manufacturer expects results. That's what they're paying for, and winning is the only thing anyone remembers. A poor weekend only gets forgiven if the next one delivers. There's always a hungrier young driver circling your seat, and you feel that pressure daily. But underneath it, you feel something new too, security. You earned this with your right foot, not your last name. Nobody can accuse you of buying your way here. You tell her about the fishing boat your father quietly sold. She understands exactly what it all cost. Chapter 6. Through the night. Stage 6. The endurance racer. You're 27, promoted into the top tier of sports car competition. The world of endurance, the legendary round-the-clock races that grind down man and machine alike. This is a fundamentally different discipline. You're never alone in the cockpit. 2 teammates share the car with you. You trust them with your life, and they trust you with theirs. One driver runs a double stint while the others rest. You race through the heat of afternoon, into the black of night, and out the other side into gray dawn. You're doing 200 miles an hour in total darkness with rain lashing the windscreen. You drive on empty, your body begging for sleep. The night stint is its own separate world. The track becomes a tunnel carved out by your headlights alone. Other cars flash into your mirrors as blinding light with almost no warning. You're sharing the circuit with slower traffic and faster prototypes simultaneously, judging closing speeds in fractions of a second. A misjudgment out here isn't a spin. It's a concrete wall at 200 miles an hour in pitch darkness. You learn to trust your hands over what your eyes can barely make out. You learn to sense grip you can't actually see. You come alive in these hours, when weaker drivers wilt. Everything you've ever learned converges here. The wheel-to-wheel instincts from the club sedans, the car control from the sliding GT machine, the finesse from that single-seater test years ago. All of it funnels into this one relentless car. You married Mira last winter. A small ceremony, because the racing calendar leaves room for little else. This year she tells you she's expecting. You're going to have a daughter. Joy tangles up with dread, because you know exactly what your job entails. You race in darkness at insane speed against pure exhaustion. You've attended the funerals. You've seen the empty chair in the garage. Teamwork decides everything at this level. You can be the fastest driver alive and still lose the race. One mistake from a teammate at 3 in the morning ends everything. One fumble in the pit lane costs a lap you can never win back. So you learn to trust completely. You learn to hand over a car while leading and try to rest while somebody else races it. Those become the longest hours of your life. Lying in a dark cabin behind the garage, listening to engines scream past, unable to sleep, just waiting for your turn again. Then you climb back in, stiff and cold, and find your rhythm again almost instantly. It's the hardest thing a driver can be asked to do, but you push the fear down. There's a family counting on you now, and a race still to be won. Chapter 7. Carrying the team. Stage 7. You're 30 years old. You're no longer the rookie in the lineup. You're the lead driver, the number one, the pace the whole program is engineered around. Your teammates are strong, but you're the one who claims pole. You're the one who takes the closing stint when the race hangs in the balance. Your engineers listen when you speak. Your feedback shapes the setup sheet. The pressure is immense, and you carry it well. Your daughter is 3 now. She doesn't understand what her father does for a living, only that he's gone constantly and comes home exhausted. Mira shoulders the full weight of the household while you chase this dream across the globe. You video call home from anonymous hotel rooms in a dozen different time zones. You watch your little girl grow up through a phone screen. It's the quiet cruelty baked into the sport. You sacrifice the very family you're working so hard to provide for. This season you win your first major endurance race as the team's lead driver. You take the checkered flag after 12 brutal hours. You climb out of the car drenched in sweat, barely able to stand upright. Your teammates hoist you onto their shoulders. You think about your father watching this from home. You think about the 8-year-old in the oversized helmet. Being the lead driver is a peculiar, isolating kind of authority. The whole team turns to you the moment things go sideways. When the car is off the pace, they expect you to drag speed out of it anyway. When a hard call needs to be made, everyone waits on your word. You can't afford to show hesitation. You can't afford to show fear. Your teammates draw confidence from your calm, so you stay calm even when your pulse is hammering. You built this over 2 decades of racing. In the club paddock with grease under your fingernails, the night you closed the door on the single-seater dream, every hard lesson along the way. Leadership was never about fearlessness. It's about staying steady while everyone around you is scared. He actually made it, just not on the path anybody would have predicted. Chapter 8. The title. Stage 8. The champion. You're 33, locked in a battle for a world championship, the top sports car title on the planet. It's come down to this final stretch of races, this brutal home stretch of the season. You and one rival squad are separated by a handful of points. Every race feels like combat. Every mistake could cost you the entire year. The pressure sits on your chest like a physical weight, there from the second you wake each morning. You barely sleep. You barely eat. Your entire existence has narrowed down to one single goal, the championship. You've chased something like this since you were 8 years old. It's cost you your childhood. It's cost you your 20s. It's cost you countless days you'll never get back with your own family. Your daughter is 6 now, old enough finally to understand that her father is one of the best on earth. She watches every race with wide, glowing eyes, the exact way you once watched, dreaming the exact same impossible dream. The championship comes down to the final round, and of course it rains. Rain has trailed you your entire career, from the club sedans to the endurance nights. Rain is your territory. It's where your instincts sharpen into something close to genius. You drive the race of your life in the wet, flawless, lap after lap, no mistakes anywhere. You pull clear of your rival. The gap keeps growing. The celebration afterward is a blur of spraying champagne and camera flashes. Your team lifts you into the air. Grown men who bled for this all season are crying openly. You scan the crowd for Mira. She's holding your daughter on her hip, the little girl screaming your name at the top of her lungs. You climb down and go straight to them, before the trophy, before the press, before anything else. You hold them both and don't let go. This is the thing the 8-year-old could never have understood. The trophy was never the actual prize. The people who sacrificed alongside you the whole way, that's the real prize. You take the crown. You're a world champion. Chapter 9. The race that owes you nothing. Stage 9. The immortal. You're 37, and there's one race left that towers above every other endurance event. The great round-the-clock classic, the most famous sports car race in the world. Win it outright, not just your class, and your name gets etched permanently into the sport's history. You've stood on that podium twice before, never on the top step. The race has broken your heart 3 separate times. A mechanical failure while leading at sunrise, a teammate's crash in the middle of the night, a blown tire with 2 hours still on the clock. This race owes you nothing and gives away nothing for free. You've lain awake replaying those losses for years. The blown tire still haunts you most. 2 hours from the finish, comfortably ahead, and the tire simply let go. You limped back to the pits, shedding bodywork the entire way. You lost by a single lap that day. You wept in the garage where nobody could witness it. Your father put a hand on your shoulder and said nothing, because there was nothing worth saying. Some wounds just don't close. They wait for a shot at redemption. This year, you finally have the car, the team, and 2 teammates, the best partners of your entire career. The race launches on a Saturday afternoon. You drive through the scorching heat of the day, through the total black of night, through the cold gray of dawn. At one stretch, you stay behind the wheel for 4 straight hours, refusing to hand the car off. Your body is wrecked. Your mind is razor sharp. With 1 hour remaining, you're leading by 90 seconds. Then the rain starts. The entire race compresses down into these final laps. You count every corner. You feel every heartbeat. The chasing car closes the gap relentlessly, headlights filling your mirrors. He's younger than you, hungry the way you once were, throwing the car at every corner with total abandon. You don't answer his aggression with your own. 30 years of racing has taught you that the distance is long and mistakes are fatal. You drive with your head instead of your heart. You give him no opening to attack. You cover every racing line. You break a fraction later exactly where it counts. The rain intensifies and you feel completely at home in it. This is your territory, the place you've always belonged. But you don't crack. You never crack. The checkered flag drops and the world goes white. You've won the greatest race on the planet. You scream inside your helmet, the same scream from when you were a boy, except now it's pure release. Mira is holding your daughter. Your father is somewhere out in the roaring crowd. Everything you gave up, everything they gave up alongside you, all of it led to this single moment. Chapter 10, What the Road Gave Back. Stage 10, The Legend. You're retired now. You walked away right at the peak, a world title and a win in the greatest race on the calendar, on your own terms, which almost no driver ever manages. The days move at a different pace now. No more red-eye flights. No more 24-hour battles against the sunrise. Your body carries the full bill for all of it. Your neck aches every single morning from decades of cornering forces. Your hands stiffen in the cold. There's a faint ringing that never fully leaves your ears, a permanent souvenir from a lifetime beside screaming engines. Most days you don't even notice it anymore. You're barely into your 40s, and some mornings you feel decades older. Your father passed 2 years ago. He saw all of it. The boy in the oversized helmet growing into the man who won the greatest race on earth. You held his hand at the very end. You finally thanked him the way you never quite managed to as a kid. He just smiled. He already knew. Your daughter is a teenager now, tall and restless, and she wants to race. Of course she does. It's woven into her. You watch her climb into a small cart, and your heart breaks and swells in the exact same instant. You crouch down on pit road and look her square in the eye. Breathe, you tell her. Feel what the cart's telling you. Don't fight it. She nods without really understanding, exactly the way you once did, but she'll get there in time. Strangers recognize you now. They stop you for photos. They tell you they watched you win it in the rain. You smile and thank them, but they don't know the full story. They don't know you once walked away from the single-seater dream to save your father's house. They don't know the kid who never reached that particular summit, found something bigger somewhere else entirely. You think about that often these days. The single-seater dream that died at a kitchen table. The house you refused to gamble against your father's love. Had you chased that ladder anyway, you might have gone broke chasing a mirage. Instead, you carved your own road. You found the great endurance races. You found teammates who turned into brothers. You found a summit nobody handed you. Regret is a strange thing. You carry almost none of it. The path you didn't take might have led nowhere at all. The path you did take led home. And that turns out to be more than enough. Somewhere out there right now, an 8-year-old is pulling on a helmet several sizes too big. Small hands trembling. A father kneeling beside the cart, telling him softly to breathe. The green flag is about to drop on an entire life he can't yet imagine. He has no idea what it will demand of him. He has no idea what it will hand back in return. He only knows that when the engine fires, something in him wakes up. He'll chase that feeling for the rest of his days. He'll give up everything for it, and it will be worth every bit of it. The cycle continues.